Maimonides, the realm of the Maimonides. Rambam, chapter. We're starting a new book now. Deot, Hilchot Deot, the laws of personality development. Included in this text are 11 mitzvot, 5 positive commandments, and 6 negative commandments. They comprise the following: to imitate His ways, meaning God; to cling to those who know Him; to love others; to love converts, and not to hate one's fellow Jews; to admonish a wrongdoer; not to shame somebody; not to oppress the unfortunate; not to gossip; not to take revenge; and not to bear a grudge. These mitzvot are explained in the following chapters. Each and every man possesses many character traits, as it means every person, every man and woman. Each and every person, every human being possesses many character traits. Each trait is very different and distant from others. One type of man is wrathful. One person is wrathful, consistently angry. In contrast, there is the calm individual who is never moved to anger, or, if at all, will be very slightly angry, perhaps once during a period of several years. There is the prideful one and the one who is exceptionally humble. There is the one who is ruled by appetites, and this person will never be satisfied for pursuing their desires. And conversely, a very pure of heart, who does not desire even the little that the body needs. There is the greedy one, who cannot be satisfied with all the money in the world. As Ecclesiastes 5:9 states, a lover of money never has his fill of money. In contrast, there is the man who puts a check on himself. He is satisfied with even a little, which is not enough for his needs. He does not bother to pursue and attain what he lacks. There is the miser who torments himself with hunger, gathering his possessions close to himself. Whenever he spends a penny of his own, he does so with great pain. Conversely, there is the spendthrift who consciously wastes his entire fortune. All other traits follow the same pattern of contrast. For example, the overly elated and the depressed, the stingy and the free-handed, the cruel and the soft-hearted, the coward and the rash, and the like. Between each trait and the contrasting trait at the other extreme, there are intermediate points, each distant from the other. With regard to all the traits, a man has some from the beginning of his conception in accordance with his bodily nature. Some are appropriate to a person's nature and will therefore be acquired more easily than other traits. Some traits he does not have from birth. He may have learned them from others or turned to them on his own. This may have come as a result of his own thoughts or because he heard that this was a proper trait for him, which he ought to attain. Therefore, he accustomed himself to it until it became a part of himself. The two extremes of each trait, which are at a distance from one another, do not reflect a proper path. It is not fitting that a man should behave in accordance with these extremes or to teach them to himself. If he finds that his nature leans toward one of the extremes or adapts itself easily to it, or if he has learned one of the extremes and acts accordingly, he should bring himself back to what is proper and walk in the path of the good men. This is the straight path. The straight path, this involves discovering the midpoint temperament of each and every trait that man possesses within his personality. This refers to the trait which is equidistant from either of the extremes without being close to either of them. Therefore, the early sages instructed a man to evaluate his traits, to calculate them, and to direct them along the middle path. Derech ha'emtza'it. So that he will be sound of body. For example, he should not be wrathful, easily angered, nor be like the dead, without feeling. Rather, he should adopt an intermediate course, meaning he should display anger only when the matter is serious enough to warrant it, in order to prevent the matter from recurring. Similarly, he should not desire anything other than that which the body needs and cannot exist without. As Proverbs 13:25 states, the righteous man eats to satisfy his soul. His nefesh. It says, Tzadik ochel lisva nafsho. Lisova nafsho. Also, he shall not labor in his business except to gain what he needs for immediate use. As Psalm 37:16 states, a little is good for the righteous man. He should not be overly stingy, nor spread his money about, but he should give charity according to his capacity and lend to the needy as is fitting. He should not be overly elated and laugh excessively, nor be sad and depressed in spirit. Rather, he should be quietly happy at all times, with a friendly countenance. The same applies with regard to his other traits. Interesting. The Rambam says that you should not be overly elated and laugh all the time. You shouldn't be doing that. It's really, and I really agree with him on this one. If you laugh all the time, it's a little bit imbalanced. It shows that it's not really happy. It's like a fake happiness. Okay. He should be just, chilled, The path. This path, the same applies with regard to his other traits. This path is the path of the wise. Every man whose traits are intermediate and equally balanced can be called a wise man. A person who carefully examines his behavior and therefore deviates slightly from the mean to either side is called pious. What is implied? One who shuns pride and turns to the other extreme and carries himself lowly is called pious. This is the quality of piety. However, if he separates himself from pride only to the extent that he reaches the mean and displays humility, he's called wise. This is the quality of wisdom. The same applies with regard to other character traits. The pious of the early generations would bend their temperaments from the intermediate path towards either of these two extremes. For some traits they would veer toward the final extreme, the others toward the first extreme. This is referred to as behavior beyond the measure of the law. We are commanded to walk in these intermediate paths, and they are good and straight paths. As Deuteronomy 28:9 states, and you shall walk in his ways. Our sages taught the following explanation of this mitzvah. Just as he is called gracious, you shall be gracious. Just as he is called merciful, you shall be merciful. Just as he is called holy, you shall be holy. In a similar manner, the prophets called God by other titles: slow to anger, abundant in kindness, righteous, just, perfect, almighty, powerful, and the like. They did so to inform us that these are good and just paths. A person is obligated to accustom himself to these paths and try to resemble him to the extent of his ability. How can one train himself to follow these temperaments to the extent that they become a permanent fixture of his personality? He should repeat and perform a third time the acts which conform to the standards of the middle road temperaments. He should do this constantly until these acts are easy for him and do not present any difficulty. Then these temperaments will become a fixed part of his personality, since the Creator is called by these terms and they make up the middle path which we are obligated to follow. This path is called the path of God. This is the heritage which our patriarch Abraham taught his descendants, as Genesis 18:19 states, "For I have known him so that he will command his descendants to keep the path of God. One who follows this path brings benefit and blessing to himself, as the above verse continues, so that God will bring about for Abraham all that he promised.